I've always been drawn to art museums. And when I saw this one developing so well, I said, I'm going to stay right here. I've always been very impressed by that painting. It's just such a wonderful portrayal of a man in his prime, I think. All these symbols of power are in this one painting. You start with his shoes. They're custom made. His stockings are silk. He's got a velvet robe. He's wearing ermine. There is a crown, if you notice, to the right of his hand. We know that he was younger when that was painted, but he wore the wig, the powdered wig, because they felt that gave them more respect. It encapsulated in just this one picture, you've got a half a dozen ways that these people were exercising a form of control.
You get so much more out of it, I think, than you put into it. Getting the classes, hearing the lectures, you make some lifelong friends, which I have, and the art, and the wonderful traveling exhibits that we get, the temporary exhibits. It's a constant learning process. It's a great painting to teach symbolisms. The baby Jesus is on sheaves of wheat and leaning against the saddle, and the wheat represents bread, because Bethlehem was the city of bread, and also later on it foreshadows the Eucharist, that he was the bread of life. The two gentlemen on the left, they're dressed in clothing that represents the time Botticelli painted it, not the time of the Nativity. When you put something from today's time, or whatever time it is at that present moment, into a painting that would have been done much, much earlier, that's called an anachronism. And the kids like that. And it's the only Botticelli fresco outside of Italy and in the United States. And I think that is reason enough to come to this museum, just to see that.
I really like giving the tours. I've had some students come in and they would keep stopping and saying, would you tell us about this one? Would you tell us about this one? Just so curious about being in a museum. A lot of times we get children who've never been in a museum, and it's really nice to be able to present like this whole other world to children who it hasn't been a part of their life up until that point. You're addressing students, whether they're 6 or 18, who are living in a world where selfies and the cell phone camera are a part of their lives. And I think probably this kind of thing has to be explained to them. There is no parallel. There is no, I will sit quietly while someone paints my portrait because I particularly want this oil-painted portrait of myself. I always tell the students, the author's giving you information about this particular person. GWE is in the portrait, and that's Gabriel Emo, and the W is for while he's still alive. So he was painted while he was still alive. When I think about the opportunities to present 20 years of little bits and pieces, it's good because we can share with each other. It's not necessarily the person's been here forever that adds something to the conversation.